A lot of leaders in Africa have faced terrible ends through murderers, leaving gory imprints on the continent's history. These events have caused periods of uncertainty and political instability and triggered significant socio-economic changes across African nations. The killings of these presidents have revealed the fragility of African leadership changes and governance, which will have long-term effects on state policies. Also, the broader geopolitical implications of these events have sparked worldwide conversations about foreign influence, regional security, and democratic consolidation. You're welcome to yet another exciting video content. Today's episode delves into the annals of African history. We get to talk about the African presidents who met tragic ends through assassinations in the most dangerous ways. Before proceeding, please spare some time to click the like and subscribe button on the video. When you subscribe to the channel, we will notify you whenever we post captivating video content like this one. To our returning subscribers, we would like to say, welcome back. Now, straight to the video. Number 1. Patrice Lumumba, Democratic Republic of Congo. Patrice Lumumba was a passionate leader from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He became the country's first prime minister in 1960 after Congo gained independence from Belgium. But trouble brewed soon after. Some influential people didn't like Lumumba's ideas about keeping Congo independent and free from outside control. They feared he would upset their interests. Lumumba wanted Congo to stand independently without depending too much on other countries, primarily former colonizers like Belgium. But this upset many people who tried to keep control over Congo's rich resources like minerals and land. So, they plotted against Lumumba. In 1961, just months after he became prime minister, Lumumba was arrested by soldiers under the orders of people who didn't like him. He was tortured and later killed. His death caused a lot of sadness in Congo and across Africa. It also led to many years of unrest and fighting in Congo. Some say Lumumba's ideas about independence and unity still inspire Africans today.
Remains of the icon of Congo's anti-colonial movement to his family. A single tooth is all that is believed to remain of Patrice Lumumba after his assassination in 1961.
Number 2. Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso. Thomas Sankara was a remarkable leader from Burkina Faso, a country in West Africa. He became president in 1983 after a popular revolution. Sankara was unlike many other leaders. He cared deeply about his country and its people. He wanted Burkina Faso to be free from corruption and foreign influence. Sankara believed in the power of ordinary people to change their lives. He worked hard to improve healthcare, education, and women's rights in Burkina Faso. He also wanted the country to be self-reliant, which means depending only a little on help from other countries. But Sankara's bold ideas made some influential people unhappy. They saw him as a threat to their interests. So, in 1987, Sankara was killed in a coup led by his close friend, Blaise Compaoré. Many believe Compaoré was influenced by outside forces who didn't want Sankara's ideas to spread. Sankara's death was a significant loss for Burkina Faso and Africa. Even today, many people admire him for his courage and vision. They see him as a hero who fought for the rights of ordinary people and stood up against injustice. His memory symbolizes hope and inspiration for Africans striving for a better future. Number 3. Samora Machel, Mozambique. Samora Machel was a beloved leader from Mozambique, a country in southeastern Africa. He became Mozambique's first president after gaining independence from Portugal in 1975. Machel was deeply committed to his people and the idea of freedom for all Africans. Under Machel's leadership, Mozambique went through significant changes. He focused on improving education, healthcare, and agriculture to lift his country from poverty. Machel also supported liberation movements in other African countries, fighting against colonialism and apartheid. However, Michel faced challenges from external forces that didn't want Mozambique to succeed. In 1986, while flying back to Mozambique from a meeting, Michel's plane crashed near the South African border. Many suspected foul play, believing that the apartheid regime in South Africa might have been involved. Though officially declared an accident, Michel's death remains shrouded in mystery. His passing was a significant loss for Mozambique and the entire African continent. He is remembered as a courageous leader who dedicated his life to the fight against oppression and injustice. Number 4. Juvenal Habyarimana, Rwanda. Juvenal Habyarimana was the president of Rwanda, a country in East Africa. He came to power in 1973 through a coup d'etat and ruled Rwanda for over 2 decades. Ethnic tensions between the majority Hutu and minority Tutsi populations marked Habyarimana's leadership. In April 1994, while returning from a peace summit in Tanzania, Habyarimana's plane was shot down near the Rwandan capital, Kigali. This event, known as the Assassination of Habyarimana, catalyzed the Rwandan genocide, one of the darkest chapters in African history. Following Habyarimana's death, violence erupted across Rwanda as extremist Hutu militias, supported by elements within the government, launched a systematic campaign of mass killings targeting Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The genocide resulted in the deaths of approximately 800,000 people within 100 days. Habyarimana's assassination remains a subject of controversy and speculation. While the identities of those responsible for shooting down his plane have never been definitively established, the event unleashed a wave of violence and bloodshed that left an indelible mark on Rwanda and the world. Number 5. Cyprien Ntaryamira, Burundi. Cyprien Ntaryamira was a political figure from Burundi, a country in East Africa. He became president in 1994, following the assassination of his predecessor, Melchior Ndadaye, in a coup the previous year. Ntaryamira's presidency was short-lived and marked by turmoil and ethnic tensions. Tragically, Ntaryamira's life came to a sudden end in April 1994 when the plane he was traveling on, alongside Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana, was shot down near the Rwandan capital, Kigali. This event, known as the Assassination of Ntaryamira, occurred amidst the escalating violence and genocide in Rwanda. The circumstances surrounding the assassination of Ntaryamira, much like those of Habyarimana, remain clouded in mystery and controversy. However, his death further exacerbated the instability in Burundi and contributed to the ongoing conflict in the Great Lakes region of Africa. Ntaryamira's assassination serves as a tragic reminder of the interconnectedness of events in the region during a period of intense political upheaval and violence. Number 6. Laurent Désiré Kabila, Democratic Republic of Congo. Laurent Désiré Kabila was a significant political figure from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, a vast country in Central Africa. He rose to power as president in 1997, following years of armed rebellion against the longtime dictator Mobutu Sese Seko. High hopes marked Kabila's presidency for change and reform in the DRC. However, his leadership faced numerous challenges, including internal conflicts, regional tensions, and accusations of corruption and human rights abuses. In January 2001, Kabila's rule came to an abrupt and violent end when he was assassinated by one of his bodyguards. The circumstances surrounding his assassination remain murky, with speculation ranging from internal dissent to external interference. Kabila's death plunged the DRC into further chaos and instability, setting off a chain of events that would shape the country's trajectory for years to come. His legacy continues to be debated, with some viewing him as a nationalist hero and others as a failed leader whose tenure was marred by authoritarianism and mismanagement. The assassination of Laurent-Désiré Kabila stands as a tragic chapter in the tumultuous history of the Democratic Republic of Congo, highlighting the fragility of governance and the complexities of power in the region. Number 7. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya. Muammar Gaddafi was a controversial and influential leader who ruled Libya for over 4 decades. He came to power in 1969 through a military coup and established himself as a strongman with grand ambitions for Libya and the African continent. Gaddafi's rule was characterized by authoritarianism, suppression of dissent, and support for revolutionary movements abroad. He pursued policies of Arab nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and socialism, often clashing with Western powers. In 2011, during the Arab Spring uprisings sweeping across the Middle East and North Africa, Gaddafi's regime came under intense pressure from internal dissent and armed rebellion. NATO intervened militarily to support the opposition forces, leading to a protracted and bloody civil war. Gaddafi's downfall came in October 2011 when he was captured by rebel forces in his hometown of Sirte. He was subsequently killed under unclear circumstances, with conflicting accounts of how exactly he met his end. Gaddafi's death marked the end of an era for Libya, but it also left a power vacuum and unleashed chaos and violence that continue to plague the country to this day. His demise serves as a cautionary tale of the complexities of leadership in a rapidly changing world. Number 8. Murtala Mohammed, Nigeria. Murtala Mohammed was a significant figure in Nigerian history, serving as the head of state of Nigeria for a brief but impactful period in the 1970s. He came to power in a bloodless military coup in July 1975, following widespread dissatisfaction with the previous regime's corruption and inefficiency. A genuine commitment to reform and social justice characterized Mohammed's tenure. He initiated sweeping changes to root out corruption, improve public services, and empower marginalized groups, particularly the poor and disenfranchised. However, Mohammed's bold reforms and uncompromising stance against vested interests made him enemies with the military and political elite. Tragically, his life was cut short in February 1976, when he was assassinated in another military coup attempt just 6 months into his presidency. Mohammed's assassination shocked the nation and dealt a severe blow to Nigeria's nascent democracy. However, his legacy as a moral leader who stood up against corruption and fought for the welfare of ordinary Nigerians endures to this day, inspiring future generations of leaders in Nigeria and beyond. Number 9. Anwar Sadat, Egypt. Anwar Sadat was a pivotal figure in Egyptian history, serving as the president of Egypt from 1970 until his assassination in 1981. He succeeded Gamal Abdel Nasser and embarked on a political and economic transformation known as the Infitah, or open door policy. Sadat's presidency was marked by significant shifts in Egypt's foreign policy, most notably his decision to make peace with Israel and his efforts to align Egypt with the West. In 1978, he famously signed the Camp David Accords with Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, leading to the historic peace treaty between Egypt and Israel in 1979. However, Sadat's pursuit of peace with Israel and his liberalization policies angered hardline elements within Egyptian society, including Islamist extremists. On October 6, 1981, during a military parade commemorating the anniversary of the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Sadat was assassinated by a group of Islamist militants who infiltrated the event. Sadat's assassination shocked the world and sent shockwaves throughout the Middle East. While his efforts to achieve peace with Israel were praised internationally and domestically, his legacy remains complex, with some viewing him as a visionary statesman and others criticizing him for his authoritarian tendencies and economic policies. Number 10. Agathe Uwilingiimana, Rwanda. Agathe Uwilingiimana was a prominent political figure in Rwanda, serving as the country's first female prime minister. She assumed office in 1993 as part of a transitional government established following the Rwandan Civil War and the signing of the Arusha Accords, aimed at ending ethnic tensions between the Hutu and Tutsi populations. Uwilingiimana's tenure as prime minister was brief but significant. She faced immense challenges, including implementing the Arusha Accords and fostering national reconciliation after the Civil War. However, her efforts were tragically cut short. In April 1994, just hours after the assassination of President Juvenal Habyarimana, Uwilingiimana was targeted by extremist Hutu militias who sought to eliminate political leaders perceived as moderates. Despite international efforts to protect her, Uwilingiimana and her family were brutally murdered in their home. Uwilingiimana's assassination symbolized the systematic targeting of political leaders during the Rwandan genocide, which claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, primarily Tutsis, but also moderate Hutus. Her death remains a poignant reminder of the human cost of ethnic violence and political extremism. Number 11. Ibrahim Bare Mainasara, Niger. Ibrahim Bare Mainasara was a prominent political figure in Niger, serving as president from 1996 until his assassination in 1999. He rose to power through a military coup in 1996, overthrowing the democratically elected government of Mahamadou Usman. Mainasara's presidency was marked by political instability, repression of opposition voices, and allegations of corruption. Despite initially promising to restore democracy to Niger, Mainasara's regime quickly descended into authoritarianism, with widespread human rights abuses reported. In April 1999, Mainasara's rule came to a violent end when members of the Presidential Guard assassinated him during a counter-coup attempt. His death further destabilized Niger, plunging the country into a period of uncertainty and political turmoil. Mainasara's assassination underscored the challenges of governance and leadership transitions in Niger, highlighting the fragility of democratic institutions and the prevalence of military intervention in politics. His legacy remains contentious, with some viewing him as a dictator and others as a victim of political intrigue. Number 12. Melchior Ndadaye, Burundi. Melchior Ndadaye was pivotal in Burundi's history, serving as the country's first democratically elected president. He assumed office in 1993 after winning the country's first multi-party elections, marking a significant milestone in Burundi's transition from decades of authoritarian rule. Ndadaye's presidency was characterized by efforts to promote reconciliation and inclusivity in Burundian society, particularly between the majority Hutu and minority Tutsi populations. However, his tenure was tragically short-lived. In October 1993, just 3 months into his presidency, Ndadaye was assassinated in a coup attempt by hardline Tutsi extremists within the military. His death sparked widespread violence and ethnic tensions, plunging Burundi into a brutal civil war that lasted for years and claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Ndadaye's assassination remains a symbol of the challenges facing democracy and ethnic reconciliation in Burundi. His legacy as a champion of democracy and unity continues to inspire efforts to build a more inclusive and peaceful society in the country. Number 13. Sylvanus Olympio, Togo. Sylvanus Olympio was a significant figure in Togo's history, serving as the country's first president. He led Togo to independence from French colonial rule in 1960 and embarked on a path of nation-building and development. Olympio's presidency was marked by efforts to modernize Togo's economy and infrastructure and promote democracy and good governance. However, his leadership faced challenges, particularly from political opponents and elements within the military. In January 1963, just 3 years into his presidency, Olympio was assassinated in a military coup led by Gnassingbé Eyadema, who later became Togo's longest-serving ruler. Olympio's assassination marked the end of Togo's brief experiment with democracy and the beginning of Eyadema's authoritarian regime. Olympio's death remains a tragic chapter in Togo's history, symbolizing the struggles for democracy and political stability in the face of entrenched authoritarianism. His legacy as a visionary leader committed to the welfare of his people continues to inspire efforts for democratic reform in Togo. Number 14. John Garang, South Sudan. John Garang was a prominent political and military leader in Sudan, mainly known for his role in the Sudanese Civil War and the fight for the independence of South Sudan. He founded the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, SPLM, in 1983, aiming to address grievances and disparities between the predominantly Arab Muslim North and the largely Christian and animist South. Garang's leadership of the SPLM was marked by determination and resilience in the face of adversity. He sought to build a more inclusive and equitable Sudan, advocating for autonomy and representation for the people of South Sudan. In 2005, after decades of conflict, Garang and the Sudanese government signed the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, CPA, which paved the way for the eventual independence of South Sudan in 2011. Garang became the first vice president of Sudan and was poised to play a vital role in the transition to peace and nation building. Tragically, just a few months after the signing of the CPA, Garang died in a helicopter crash in July 2005 under unclear circumstances. His untimely death raised suspicions and sparked tensions, threatening to derail the fragile peace process in Sudan. Garang's legacy as a visionary leader and a symbol of hope for the people of South Sudan lives on, inspiring efforts to build a stable, democratic, and prosperous nation in the aftermath of years of conflict and turmoil. Number 15. Léon Mba. Gabon. Léon Mba was a significant political figure in Gabon, serving as the country's first president after it gained independence from France in 1960. He played a crucial role in shaping Gabon's post-colonial trajectory and laying the foundations for its political and economic development. Mba's presidency was marked by efforts to consolidate power and establish stability in the newly independent nation. He focused on building institutions and fostering national unity, despite challenges from political opponents and regional tensions. However, Mba's rule faced criticism for its authoritarian tendencies and allegations of corruption. His leadership style, characterized by centralized control and limited political pluralism, drew praise and condemnation from various quarters. In 1967, Mba's presidency came to an abrupt end when he was assassinated under mysterious circumstances. His death paved the way for the rise of Omar Bongo, who would rule Gabon for over 4 decades. Mba's legacy remains a debate in Gabonese politics, with some viewing him as a founding father and nation builder, while others criticize his authoritarianism and shortcomings in governance. Nonetheless, his contributions to Gabon's independence and early nation-building efforts are widely acknowledged. The murders of African presidents serve as sobering reminders of the brittleness of continental leadership and the difficulties involved in governing the region. These sad incidents have permanently altered African countries' political, social, and economic environments, influencing their future course. These leaders' departed legacies nevertheless profoundly impact modern African politics and society, acting as moving reminders of the difficulties and sacrifices made in the name of advancement and independence. Thank you for watching this video to the end. If you enjoyed this video, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to get notifications of all our new videos. Also, remember to share this video. See you in our next video.